Well, hello everyone. It's Karen McDermott-Rolfe, independent advisor with Creative Memories, and I'm back with my monthly technique layout and challenge. I'm going to share a scrapbooking technique with all of you, and then I challenge all of you to use the technique to create your own layout. Take a photo of your layout and share it with me on Facebook at Karen's Croppers for an entry into my monthly door prize drawing. You can also find more of my layouts on my blog at karencrops.com. And I so appreciate any of your purchases through my Creative Memories website link at creativememories.com/user/Karen, and it's Karen with a Y. And I offer a very generous customer rewards program. I also wanted to mention that my 2023 National Scrapbook Day layouts are now available as an on-demand class. When you purchase the class, you're going to receive instructional, printable PDF handouts, and also instructional videos to create 4 double-page layouts, so that's 8 pages in total. And these layouts, you guys, are super cute. They just turned out really adorable. There's lots of layers, there's fine detail, just makes these really pretty pages. And you're going to find access to those on-demand page classes on my blog at karencrops.com. If you look at the top menu bar, look for the on-demand page classes, and you'll find that I have several of those available. And in this current 2023 National Scrapbook Day layouts, I use the current 2023 NSD Customer Bundle and also the Citrus Slice Border Maker cartridge from Creative Memories. So let's take a look at the technique that I'm going to share with you today. And I'm calling this a folded hexagon frame. We're going to fold these cute little hexagon pieces and create this beautiful frame. This is not a new technique. I did not create this technique. This is something that I've seen along the way. And many of you might recall that maybe 2 years ago or so, we folded these hexagon shapes to create a big star pattern in the center of the layout. And that was a layout that was shared on the Creative Memories blog. So if you go to the Creative Memories blog and search for it, you could find that layout to make also. And I believe I've shared it in my Facebook group, Karen's Croppers, too, and you could find it there. But for this layout, we folded square pieces to create these rectangular hexagon pieces. And then when we adhered them to the page, it created this beautiful pattern. And for this layout, I used the blue paper and embellishments. And look at how pretty that paper is. Such cute little pretty prints. There's also some more kind of solid prints and geometric prints in that paper pack. So it's not all real floral paper. These are just the 3 that I chose to use that are floral, but there's some, like I said, that are more geometric or a little bit more tonal too. And then I used a few of the embellishment pieces here to embellish the layout. And I created a narrow little frame here that I cut out of a piece of navy cardstock, just again to kind of accentuate this pretty border around the outside. So to create this one, we're going to start with some squares that are 1.5 by 1.5. So that's 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches. And once we have the squares, I found it was easiest to fold them using my Creative Memories cutting mat. And I placed the squares diagonally on the mat. So I have the 2 points here right on one of the lines. And then I'm going to also line up the top and bottom points so they're also on a line. So now all of the points are all kind of aligned, and I know it's straight. My piece is straight. And I'm going to fold up this bottom tip, and I'm going to fold it so the fold line hits right on that next line that's on the cutting mat. So you see that cutting mat? So if I fold it down, we can see where the tip is. And I'm folding that tip up to the next line. And then I'm going to take the tip at the top and I'm going to fold that down to the next line on the mat. And those mats are 1/2 inch in between each other. And they're going to overlap a little bit. And then I just took a little bit of repositional adhesive, put it on those tips to hold the pieces down. And so then I created a whole bunch of these little pieces, and then you can see how I arranged them on the layout. So let me walk you through that in a little bit more detail. This time, I'm going to use a little bit larger squares to get a different look. So for this layout, I'm using the On the Farm paper, which is currently sold out with Creative Memories. It sold out fast. That whole collection did. There's a few pieces of it still available on our website, and the On the Farm stickers are coming back sometime this month. I believe it's this month they're coming back. But anyway, it's super cute little printed paper, and I used it for this layout. But this time, I started with squares that are 2 inches by 2 inches. Okay, remember, for the blue layout, my squares were a little smaller. They were 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches. And these squares are 2 inches by 2 inches. And we're going to see it's just going to create a little bit of a different look by using the larger squares. So to do our folding this time, I'm going to use our 12-inch trimmer, and I'm going to use our scoring blade. So I'm going to take out the straight blade, put in the scoring blade, and I'm going to arrange the square on the diagonal on the trimmer. And I'm lining up the point here on the right with one of the straight lines, one of the straight horizontal lines on the printer. And I'm doing the same here with the point on the left. So both of those are on a line. I might scooch it down a little bit. And I'm also going to try to, let's see. Well, the line that it needs to be, I need to go back up a minute. The line here on the right, we want it on the 3/4 inch vertical line on the trimmer. So we have the cutting strip right here. If we go to the right of it, we're going to go to the 3/4 inch mark, and that's where I want the tip on the right side. And then I just want to make sure, so my piece is straight, that this tip on the left is also on the line, is on this same horizontal line. Okay, and that makes sure that my piece is straight. So now I'm just going to run the score blade over it and score it. And I'm going to turn it to this other side, and I'm going to score the other side now. And again, I have this right tip here of my square on the 3/4 inch line, the 3/4 inch vertical line, and I'm going to score it. Okay. I'll do that one more time with another square. So again, the square is 2 inches by 2 inches. I'm putting the square on the diagonal on the trimmer. I have the right point here of my diamond shape. It's on the 3/4 inch vertical line. And then the tip over here on the left side of my diamond shape, it's also on that same horizontal line. That way I know the piece is straight. You know, if I had it up a little bit, it's not going to be straight. So you want to make sure your piece is straight by using these lines on the trimmer. So I'm going to score it at that 3/4 inch mark. I'm going to turn it on its side and score the other side, again at the 3/4 inch. And this really just helps to make your folds nice and even, and it's just so much easier to fold it once they're scored. And you see when you fold it in, how nicely they meet right there in the center. So then again, I'm going to take the repositional tape, and I'm just going to put a little bit of tape there on the tips, and I'm going to tape it down. I do have a tip for you. When you're using the scoring blade, make sure your cutting mat does not have any heavy grooves in it. If you can look at the back side of my mat, or the cutting strip here, you can see I have some heavy grooves. And when I'm using that and scoring it, the score blade actually will go in that groove, and it's going to cut your paper instead of score it. So you're going to get, it's going to partially cut that paper instead of scoring it. So you want your cutting strip here on the mat to be pretty fresh, so the score blade does not get in any of those cut grooves. Okay, and I'm just going to change out my blade now so I don't forget about it. And I'm going to do that with, you know, a whole bunch of pieces. this time I'm making a double page layout, so I did double the number of pieces, and I have them all ready to go. Now the trick to getting this laid out when you start, let's get it started, is to start in a corner, and you're gonna start right there coming out of the corner like that, okay? And I'm going to start on this corner also. And this is going to be the right hand page of my double page layout. So I don't need the corners done on the other sides. But then from here, I'm just going to match up these little squares and trying to keep it all straight. Tape the top edge to the edge of the paper. I'm not going to press it down really hard right now because the spacing on this is pretty precise. When you get to the end of your row, you don't want any big gaps between your pieces. So you need to be a little careful about that. And another tip would be when you cut your pieces to that 2 inches by 2 inches, be very consistent that you get them precisely at 2 by 2. Because if one is slightly, even a little hair bigger or smaller, these pieces won't fit as nicely together, and then you'll have more gaps in between them. So let's see how I did. So I kind of lucked out there. That fit really nicely together. Okay. I'm going to make the corner here. So when you start to make the layout, and you get confused about where to start, look at the corner and see how the corner pieces need to fit together to make this pattern in your corners. And that is the pattern you need to know when you're adhering your pieces. Whoops, now this piece looks a little wider than that one. So that could be a case where I cut my 2-inch strip a little wide. And that's easy to do because, when you're looking at the lines on the trimmer and you want to put it on the 2-inch line, what if you're just a little hair past to the left of that line or a little hair to the right of that line? It makes it just a smidge bigger or a smidge smaller than 2 inches. Isn't this fun? If you followed me for a while, you know that I really do like quilt-inspired layouts quite a bit. I think it's because they remind me of my grandmother. My grandma was a quilter, and she was a hand quilter. She did all the quilting by hand and made some beautiful pieced, old-fashioned quilts. And I just loved those as a child, of looking at the patterns, of helping her pick out the fabric. I don't know, something about that I do like the quilt-inspired looks. Here's a piece again, too, that was a little bit bigger. So I'm going to just see if I have another one that fits a little better here. That one fits a little better. And you can overlap the pieces a little bit, if you're finding that they're not matching quite up. I think that's what I'm going to do here. I have it matched in my corner pretty well. And then I'm just... Oops. You're definitely using the edges of the paper to help keep these pieces straight. There we go. So isn't that cute? So let me show you what the other half looks like. So I made the double page spread. And again, it was using this On the Farm materials. The little barn here was from one of the variety mats. Unfortunately, the variety mats are sold out also. I've used a little sticker. I've used the Barn and Fence Border Maker cartridge. This is current. This is available. The Barn and Fence Border Maker cartridge. And then behind it is the Wheatfield Border Punch. That is a retired punch. But we have the current Wildflowers punch that would look equally nice there behind your little barn and fences. So I am not going to finish it with mats and stickers. over on this side yet because I want to wait till I get my photos, because I have a photo shoot coming up. Well, not a specific photo shoot, but a photo opportunity coming up. My little granddaughter is going to be visiting for her spring break, and my neighbor's friend raises goats, and she has some brand new newborn pygmy goats. So little miniature goats that are newborn. So we can't wait to see these tiny little goats. So I'm gonna have some cute photos of my granddaughter with the goats, and those are what I'm gonna use on this layout. So I figured I'd probably have some close-ups of the little babies, or Ellie holding the babies, and then I need some space to journal this story. But I'll see what other kinds of photos I have here before I complete this layout. But isn't that, it just made a beautiful pattern, doesn't it? And, you know, it's really comes together more quickly and simply than it might look. You know, at first glance, you might think, oh, that's really complicated. That's a lot of little pieces. Well, they're not, you know, these are not all individual little pieces. They're bigger pieces. So again, then we can compare it to the first layout that I showed you with the slightly smaller pieces. And remember, these we started with squares that were 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches. And these were squares that were 2 inches by 2 inches. So just a slightly different look. You know, this is a little bigger, a little bolder. This is a little bit more delicate and dainty. And I think it's just super fun. I can't wait to see what you guys do with this technique. I can't wait to see your layouts. So again, please use this technique to create a layout. It could be single page, double page. You could use the 2-inch squares, the 1.5-inch squares, and share it with me on Facebook at Karen's Croppers. And when you share that photo into the album, you're going to want to look for my Technique Tuesday number 46 album, and get your photo in that album, and that's what's going to earn you the door prize entry for my April door prize. And yes, that means I have 46 different technique albums there in Karen's Croppers. So it's a great reference library full of scrapbooking ideas and techniques for all of you. Also, just as a last reminder here before I sign off, please subscribe to my YouTube channel if you're not already a subscriber. I would sure appreciate that. Your subscription will help my algorithms and help me to be seen more on YouTube by other viewers. And it's also going to make it easier for you to find me when you go to YouTube, because when you go into YouTube and you look on the right-hand corner on the side, you will see all of your subscriptions, and you'll see the different people and groups that you subscribe to, so you can easily find them. You can also choose the option to get a notification whenever I post a new video, so you'll get a little chimey bell alerting you to when a new video is posted also. So thanks so much for that. And oh, like I said, if you're interested in those National Scrapbook Day layouts, those are all exclusive layouts. I'm not sharing those otherwise. They're only available through that on-demand class. So go to my blog at karencrops.com to check those out too. So thanks so much, everybody. Have a great month and enjoy making this technique.